boys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be covering how to beat Ultimate Difficulty Squad Battles on FIFA 23. Now, if you watched the video I did about beating Legendary about a week ago, basically we're going to do exactly the same thing. I've recorded a game that I played a couple of days ago on Ultimate Difficulty, on solo as well. I thought it would be better to do it solo, since most of you guys are probably playing solo. And yeah, what we're going to do is going to watch it back together, we're going to break it down, I'm going to tell you the things you should be doing, the things you shouldn't be doing, analysing mistakes, analysing what we do well, all that good stuff, and hopefully passing on how to beat Ultimate to you guys. Now, just in case you are new around here, this isn't some weird flex or anything, but just in case you're new and you're wondering who is this guy, basically on the Xbox, I used to go by the gamer tag of Virgil Dan Dyke. So if you've played at Xbox Squad Battles over the past few years, you probably recognize the name. I have finished top 200 literally every single week for the past 3 FIFAs, and this FIFA so far. And in that time, I've had like, I don't know, maybe 40, 50, 60 first place finishes. I have no idea. But yeah, basically, just so you know, does this guy know what he's talking about? I kind of do, yeah. But just before we get back to the gameplay, this is something I have got to mention, because obviously you guys have clicked on a video that says how to beat Ultimate Difficulty Squad Battles. But the reality is this year, you don't need to be doing this. Like, you don't need to be playing on Ultimate Difficulty. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom of the top 200, you can see that last week, the guy that finished in 200th finished on 97,000 points. Now, you can easily get that whilst playing all your games on Legendary difficulty. In fact, you can get up to like 110, 111k without ever playing a game on Ultimate. And that would have been last week enough to get you right into the top 10. Now, I imagine this will get harder as time goes on. But the point is, you never need to play Ultimate to get into the top 200 ever. But in previous years, obviously the goal, like for me, I used to play Ultimate every single game. The goal was to try and finish first in the world or to try and get top 20. But now, no matter whether you finish first or whether you finish 200th, you get exactly the same rewards. So basically, unless you're actively going for first, just to say that you got first and use it as some sort of flex, you don't need to play Ultimate anymore. So that's kind of my biggest tip for this video is, you don't need to do this. Okay, but now we've got all that out of the way, let's get into the actual gameplay. So I'm going to show you me going into the game. As you can see, I just selected Ultimate Difficulty. The reason I'm showing this is because if I don't show this, there will be some guy in the comments saying that this is fake and it's on a different difficulty. There'll probably be that guy anyway. He's still going to do it and say that I just edited the video. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly show you me going into the game. And as you can see, one more time, right before I press play match, it is Ultimate right there. And obviously, to get all these high place finishes, all these first in the worlds, all these top 200s, I have to play on a high difficulty. So why people doubt it, I don't know. But yeah, so let me just let the game load up. And there we go, we're in. Also, it's worth pointing out that if you're wondering what custom tactics I'm using, I have actually got them posted on the channel. And not only are they good for squad battles, but in the 2 weeks of Foot Champs that I've used the tactics, I finished 19-1 in the first week and 17-3 in the second week. So if you're struggling for custom tactics, feel free to copy my 4-2-3-1 variation too. It's good for squad battles and it's good online as well. Oh, it had been a quiet game up until this point, but this is the first mistake. So let's go back. Let's go back. So one thing I always say is that don't pull defenders out of position unless you absolutely need to, or you absolutely guarantee that you're going to get the ball. So I've made the tackle with Hakimi, but this is the problem. It's a throw in. It does the fake throw. I switch to Hakimi. I commit because I was pretty sure, to be fair, I was going to get the ball here with Hakimi. So I go in to get it. It doesn't happen. Now, Hakimi is massively out of position. He's here when he should be here. And this is why I'll always say, do not pull centre-backs and full-backs out of position. Do your defending with your CDMs. But in this case, defending with my CDMs is kind of the problem as well. So if we let it advance again. Right now, Mount has got the ball. I am on Fofana. If I stay with Fofana, Mount has got all the space in the world to run into. And as you can see, that's exactly what I do. I stay with Fofana. What I should have done is switch to Thiago Silva and started cutting down this space. And whilst cutting down this space, I could have still blocked the passing lane to this player. So I would have been cutting down the space Mount had to run into, whilst also keeping the passing lane cut so he couldn't make the pass inside. But instead, what I do is I stay with Fofana, and as you can see, Mount has all the space in the world to run into, get himself a decent angle. Thiago Silva does eventually come across by himself, but by then, it's too late. So, like I say, defending a lot of the time is common sense. Don't pull players out of the position, but at the same time, don't be afraid to when you need to. And I obviously can't tell you every situation that you'll be in where you need to make that decision. It's just common sense. And obviously, in that situation, I didn't use my common sense. It is also worth mentioning that if you watch the video I made about beating Legendary difficulty, we're basically going to be covering the same points that we covered in that video in this video, because what you do to beat Ultimate is exactly the same. You play Legendary and Ultimate in exactly the same way. The only reason it's more difficult is because if you don't know, when you play on Ultimate difficulty, the players get a boost to 99 in every single stat. So that's what makes Ultimate so much more tougher than Legendary. But in terms of the way you play the game, you do the exact same things you would do on Legendary on Ultimate. It's just made harder by the fact that the players are all 99 rated. And there comes our first goal from a corner. Again, I did mention this in the Legendary video, but for those of you guys that haven't watched that, let's go back. So I do actually have a very decent strategy on corners. Basically, don't move the right analog stick at all. Do not move it. You don't need to move it. Angle the corner so it's just outside the 6-yard box. So obviously you've got a little bit of kill on it by default, so angle it so it's just outside, maybe towards the penalty spot. Then when you whip it in, use about 3 bars of power. If you use about 3 bars of power, it goes in towards the front post every single time. Usually, Ronaldo makes a run and it hits Ronaldo. But obviously this time, that didn't happen. But thankfully, Thiago Silva went into the space and scored the header. So yeah, that's kind of my strategy on corners. I score a lot of corners, so just aim it to just outside the 6-yard box, 3 bars of power, and if you've got someone good in the air, you'll probably score quite a few. And there is our second goal. Actually, this one's a little bit kind of unexpected in a way, because usually, especially when you're playing on Ultimate, your players won't just get past other players. But it can happen. Sometimes, even though they've got 99 and everything, sometimes these players can fall asleep. It happens. So Ronaldo just happens to fly past Tomori like he's not there, and using an outside-the-foot finish, which is very overpowered this FIFA, even from long distances. I'm sure you know this. You've probably been scoring them or conceding a lot of them. The outside-the-shot finish is really, really OP this year. So we kind of just glide past Tomori and make it 1-0. As easy as that. Sometimes it can be as easy as that. It's worth mentioning it as well. I just want to go back there. It's nothing too amazing, but someone asked me in the last video, because I forgot to mention it, what skill moves work against the AI, and it's always the basic stuff. Kind of like this. This is just a fake shot stop. Fake shot stop creates a bit of space to get past him. The ball roll scoop as well. Scoop turns, ball roll scoops. They work very, very well. Drag backs, it's basically just your simple stuff that works. Don't go trying, you know, all sorts of fancy skill moves that you might get away with online, because the AI simply don't fall for it. Basically, fake shot stops, ball roll scoops, ball rolls, drag backs, and that's about it in terms of the arsenal of skill moves that I use. That seems to work best. And that's another thing worth mentioning as well. I didn't actually score from this, but this is much easier to do in co-op. So if you are playing co-op, over the top through balls, very, very, very overpowered. Obviously, it's harder when you're playing by yourself, because you can't always get someone to make the run for you. But on this occasion, I've got Sterling running into the space, big LBY, and we easily find Sterling. If you are playing co-op, if you're watching this video, but you're going to be playing co-op, abuse that. Abuse that, because it's ridiculously overpowered. And that is it. That brings to the end of the first half. Honestly, not a lot happened that half. There wasn't really a lot to talk about. So hopefully a bit more happens in the second half. As you can see, it was a very, very close game. We did have a few shots, but nothing really testing the keeper too much. So, yeah, hopefully a bit more happens in the second half so I can talk about it. Okay, let's go back on that. I should have scored that, but let's go back. Let's go back, because this is why I'll always say that width is really important. I play it in a 4-2-3-1 variation too, and the reason is because you can really, really stretch the defense. So as you can see, we've got Dembele out here on the right, and on the radar down here, you can just about see it. There is a little dot down here that is Raheem Sterling, completely stretching the defense. And the reason I like it so much is it just creates space. As you can see, Ronaldo just turns his defender. And because Sterling is out here on this left-hand side by himself, the left back or the right back doesn't want to stay with him all the time. He wants to come inside. So it just creates tons of space. And then, like I say, simple ball roll, beats the defender. And I really should have scored that. Although, I probably shouldn't have just shot that normally on this FIFA. When you get inside like that, it's something that I need to learn as well. I'm still in FIFA 22 habits, is you need to be finesse shotting that. Even if you finesse shot it to the near post, there's still a better chance of it going in than if you just press B and shoot and hope for the best. That is a FIFA 22 goal, but obviously we're not on FIFA 22 anymore. So in positions like that, try and get off a finesse shot. Oh, extremely, extremely unlucky there. Not a lot's happened again, but if we just go back on that, I mentioned this in my beating Legendary video. Power shots on this game, are very, very overpowered. And if you get the space to pull them off, you do need at least a couple of seconds because the animation is quite long. But if you do get the space to pull them off, definitely be trying to score them because if you're struggling to break a team down, they could just kind of be a cheat code and an easy way to score some goals. Unfortunately, that one hit the post. But, yeah, I have been scoring tons and tons of these in squad battles and online as well. So, yeah, make sure it's LB, RB, and B on the Xbox, by the way, and L1, R1, and circle on the PlayStation. Make sure you're taking advantage of them, because right now, unless there's a patch, they're broken. And there is goal number 3. As we mentioned earlier in the video, outside of the foot shots, Trivela shots, whatever they're called, very, very overpowered right now. There's just been a patch, but it hasn't changed the fact that they are still overpowered. So we get the space with Fofana. And in this position, the absolute best shot you can take is a Trivela shot. That's what we do. And it flies in. I didn't even time that one. And it flied in. So, yeah, like, make sure you're using those shots. Make sure you're taking advantage. Very overpowered. And again here, kind of the same as the first goal. Now, in the build-up to this, I was doing something that I like, which is 1-2s between my cam and my striker. Because if you do 1-2s and hold LB while you're playing the pass back, it keeps the other playing running. So it kind of acts as like a co-op partner. Again, if you're playing co-op, you're at a huge advantage because you've got another player that can make these runs for you. But if you don't trust the AI to make runs for you by themselves, you kind of have to find a way for them to do it yourself. So if you use LB and A passes and you make them run once they pass the ball, you can kind of keep a man running. And what happens here is we pass it into Ronaldo, and again, he somehow just leaves his man in the dust, and we go for the finish right across the goalkeeper, and yeah, it works. It's weird because technically that defender has got 99 every stat, but 81 pace Ronaldo was having none of it. And there's an example of defending. Again, like I mentioned, you don't always have the option of defending with a CDM. Sometimes you just have to use a centre-back. In this option, I think I defend this about as well as you can. Basically, this man in the box here, I've got Thiago Silva. I've got to stop him, A, from trying to get a good angle to get a shot off, and B, I've got to cut his passing lane so he can't get it into either of these men. And, yeah, just by jockeying and standing my ground, basically, we do about as well as we could there, and eventually we get the tackle in. Yeah, like I say, sometimes you just have to use a defender, and you've got to judge when that scenario is or isn't. And again, with Thiago Silva, we can't get this ball out right now. Do we concede? Oh, we actually concede from that. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I did about as good as I could defending-wise there, and we still conceded. So I guess that's a lesson that sometimes you're just going to concede, even if you do everything right. And just another little example here. Instead of switching to the fullback to try and go out and meet Pedri to try and win the ball, I pull Kessie all the way back, and I win it there instead with Kessie. That's an example of how to defend properly. That's what you want to try to be doing. Yeah. Oh, and I don't score that. Here's another example of, I think looking back on this, a power shot would have been much better here. When I get in this space with Kessie, maybe about here. When I'm about here, I think I should probably go for a power shot, using LB, RB, and B, or L1, R1, and circle. But instead, I try and carry it forward, let the defenders get a bit closer to me, go for a shot. It hits the post. It is unlucky. Probably could have scored that way, but I think if I just went for the power shot when I actually had the space here, if I'd gone for the power shot like right now, I think that probably would have flown in at this goalkeeper's side. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't do that. I honestly don't even know if I got my 5th goal here. Obviously, it don't really matter against the featured game, because against the featured game, you only get 2,000 points for winning no matter what. But obviously, if this was a normal game, I'd be trying to get my 5th goal. Do I even get it? Oh, wow, I do, by defending from the front as well. Or do I get it? Wait. Okay, I do get it. So, honestly, that goal, that 5th goal, kind of lucky. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the time, they will just pass around you here. But luckily, we actually were able to win it from the front, and it just happened to fall to Danjuma. And since I had the time, I went right up to the goalkeeper and put it in his opposite side. But again, probably a finesse shot there would have worked better, would have been a safer bet. But yeah, with all that time and space, you should be finishing that. And there it is, the end of the game. That actually wasn't the best game to show goals, because a lot of my goals kind of just came about in that game. I didn't really get to show you what was overpowered like I did in the beating legendary video. But just to kind of summarize, basically, in terms of scoring goals, right now, I think there's a lots of effective ways to score goals. Finesse shots in the box, really, really good. Finesse shots outside the box, not as good as they were last year, but you can still pull them off. Trivela shots, really, really good. Power shots, really, really good. Corners can be very, very overpowered if you know how to take them. If you use my technique, I think you'll do pretty well from corners. And yeah, lots and lots of ways to score goals. And just to prove this wasn't legendary difficulty, by the way, here is the 2,000 points. I'll let it get back to the main menu so you can see it as well. Right there. Right, hopefully my face cam isn't hiding this, but we won 5-2, points in, 2,000, and difficulty ultimate. So, just in case you still didn't believe me, it was in fact on ultimate difficulty. And yeah, as for defending, like I mentioned, try and do most of your defending with your CDMs. Try and pull your wingers back. Let them help you out. Obviously, in some scenarios, you're going to have to use a left back, you're going to have to use a full back, you're going to have to use a centre back, but you need to judge when that situation comes. I can't really help you with that because every single situation is different, you know? But yeah, that is in fact going to do it from me, boys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really, really do appreciate it. If you've got any questions, let me know down below. I have got a full playlist on the channel of different squad battles tips videos, so if you're still struggling, still looking for maybe more information, head over to that playlist and maybe one of those videos will be able to help you out. And you can also find my 4-2-3-1 variation 2 custom tactics in there as well. Like, as I mentioned, not only have got me top 200 every single week so far, but also got me a 19-1 and 17-3 finish in FUT Champs. So they are working wonders right now. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like I say, drop any questions you need to. I'll try and help you out as best I can, and I will see you again in the next one. Cheers, boys.